Right now, Colorado's aggressive move could be going after Seth Jones. So there's a lot of rumors right now that Seth Jones could be moved by Chicago and could be shot by Chicago. Is Chicago willing to retain on that contract? I think that's the big question. When we're talking about $9 million for a guy that just hasn't performed that way, it's heavy. Like other guys in the league, like a Darnell Nurse, who have been criticized in that $9 million range, he's been better than Seth Jones recently. And that's crazy to say because Oilers fans have been on Nurse. But for Seth Jones, I've had a lot of fans talk about recently, and specifically here with me recently, is that Casey Middlestat, 3-year contract with Colorado. He's had his moments, but it just hasn't been perfect the way they've wanted. Could Colorado consider a 2-part move? Could they consider a move that gets them a Nazem Kadri again with like a Ross Colton or like one of those defensive contracts going to Calgary? Miles Wood, if he stays on LTIR, you bring in Kadri retained. You just throw a first-round pick, a prospect at Calgary. You get Kadri at 50% retained. And then you ship out Middlestat and maybe a younger piece or a draft pick to Chicago. So Middlestat's the new number 2 center behind Bedard. And you bring in Seth Jones into Colorado at a reduced retain rate as well, whether it's 33% or 50% retained. So that's like painting a picture here for the rumors that are out there right now. That's Seth Jones. And if I had to like talk about Seth Jones, I know we're in a 30-minute show here, so talk about Seth Jones. Potential trade destinations beyond that, and we're talking about Colorado maybe creating space for Mikko Rantanen, because I don't think Mikko Rantanen's for sure gone from Colorado, but that's a conversation. I think a team like Chicago could come in and sign him for $14 million. I think they could per year. If that's in consideration, does Colorado really want to trade with Chicago? Maybe not. But I think Seth Jones on Colorado would look really well in that top 4. And then Josh Manson slides down to the 3rd pair, less of a responsibility. It's possible if you can make the salary work. But I think Casey Middlestat then in that scenario goes back to Chicago. Other targets that where Seth Jones could go, I mean, the Dallas Stars, I keep intertwining the Dallas Stars with so many of these conversations, whether it's Erik Karlsson or Seth Jones. I think Dallas is going to go aggressive after a right shot defenseman. They went after Chris Tanev last year. That worked out big, but that was more of the defensive presence. I think they could get a really good 2-way presence next to Miro Heiskanen, and I think Seth Jones could be that presence. If they can get a couple million off retained from Chicago, get Seth Jones on that right side next to Miro Heiskanen, I think it could go a long way. So look out for the Dallas Stars, also for Mikko Rantanen, though. Like, again, I'm tying it all together here because it makes sense. Mikko Rantanen is from Finland. Who is Dallas's number 1 center? Roope Hintz. Who is Dallas's number 1 defenseman? Miro Heiskanen. They also have Anton Lundell. It's interesting. It's interesting. Keep an eye on it because I do think that there's connections there. So we'll see Dallas going into this deadline because, again, they want to dump that Matt Dumba contract. We'll see how it goes.